Welcome to Bill and Rob's An Excellent Adventure. I'm Bill Tilley.
And I'm Rob Schulte. And of course, we're here with Graham Young. Everyone knows that. Hey, Graham.
Yeah, sure. I decided to stop by for this episode. And I'm not going to say whether or not I regret it, but I'm here.
Hey, we'll save that for the rating at the end, right?
Yes.
That's everyone knows we do 5 nights for $1. The added bonus is now, does Graham regret this?
I like to think that this is Graham's becoming our Larry Klein upstairs neighbor on Three's Company. It's like he's up there. Now he's just going to hang around more and more until he's the cast.
And
he's up there.
He's going to catch us in some questionable scenarios, Bill.
He will. He will indeed before he just saunters out the door to one of his many Lothario moments. It'll be great.
And questionable films, Bill.
I'm glad.
Look at this coming out hot, everybody.
Hey,
no, I had a good time. I want to say
Yeah.
I did have a good time revisiting this film. I haven't seen it since 1996.
Yeah, you saw it in theaters. Is that what
I
we're
did
learning
not.
here?
I saw it on HBO or Cinemax or something like
Gotcha.
that.
Well,
Restate the unwritten rule, as we mentioned before, Graham. Sometimes I do these movies at Rob, so now you're going to get added as well.
yes, it's not about why, it's about who's watching.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, and I don't want to jump the gun too much, but I watched this and I got in such a shot in the arm from Bill's theme that I looked ahead on some of the episodes that we'll be covering. And I'm not going to say it. People can find out soon enough. But I decided to watch almost back to back. I'm not done with it yet, but I've started the next film in Bill's Lady Killers saga. I had never heard of it. I turned it on and I am enthralled. If Barb Wire is a starting point for this series and then it made me jump to, well, I'll just say it, The Legend of Billie Jean.
Yes.
And then I won't give away what's after that. I'm so thrilled for this series, Bill.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah.
That's the whole point's to have some fun. So I thought I picked some good ones, probably some purposely bad ones, certainly some entertaining ones.
Bad is in the eye of the beholder.
If you like it, it's not bad.
That's true. Hey, if I
had a
haven't
good
seen
time,
it,
it's
it's
not
new to
bad.
me, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Should I read the back of the box?
Absolutely. I think you should climb up on a big old swing while Graham and I hit you with water from fire hoses
Yeah,
and you just
really.
recite the back of this box.
Oh.
All right, here we go. And someone can sing a cover of Word Up while I do this.
I was going to bring
What
that
What a
up.
terrible, terrible choice.
It's in my segments. We'll get there. All right, back at the box. Barb Wire, 1996. Pamela Anderson Lee is Barb Wire, the sexiest, toughest woman in Steel Harbor, a city marketed by chaos and crime, providing a home for a new kind of mercenary. If you've got a problem, Barb Wire is the solution. She'll use any dangerous weapon, including her body, to take what she wants, crossing the line for no man until the day Axel Hood hits town. He's on a mission, and Barb is the only one who can get him out of town alive. Will Barb help the man who once betrayed her? There's only one thing you can be sure of. She can get you anything you want for a price. Are you ready to pay? Ooh. I feel like the end of the back of this box could have alternatively said, there's only one thing you can be sure of. Don't call her babe.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Good,
Which
good
I guess-
tagline.
There was another comic book called Babe, and that was also like a buxom character in the early 90s and late 80s. And this was at that comic. It's no, we're not doing that. This is Barb fucking Wire.
And it was easy at that time to get lost trying to connect those dots because thanks to Extreme and Image and Rob Liefeld back in the 80s and 90s, there was a lot of buxom superheroes that you could find at the bookstore. Far, far too many at one point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And this was a Dark Horse comic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was. This is that kind of weird time, like when we went into our groovy Marvel movie section. This whole thing of superhero movies are a thing. Comic book movies are a thing, but they haven't hit the formula yet to really make one sing.
It's interesting you say that, because coming up, I've got a few thoughts on, like, having watched this and having us do kind of like our pre-MCU part 1, like the collection of groovy films you chose, Bill. Some were groovy, some were like radical, and some were like, that's cool, dude, because of whatever era they were in. But and some were just Hasselhoff classics. But I
will
think
defend that movie to the death.
It is fantastic. Graham, have you ever seen the Nick Fury Hasselhoff movie?
Okay, yeah. Is that Roger Corman? Is that the same production that did the Fantastic Four?
Oh, I don't know, Bill.
Don't remember if Corman was. It was a TV movie.
Yes,
it certainly
I'm familiar
felt like
with
a
it.
Corman movie.
I've seen him with the
eye patch and the cigar
and the wings.
Oh, yeah.
The gray wings and the hair.
And Lisa Rinna, Real Housewife of Beverly Hills. It is incredible. But we'll get to it. But like, Barb Wire is also like whatever college thesis film paper I'm writing, Bill. These are helping me with my citations about superhero movies.
I love the thought that Barb Wire could be a notation in a thesis for a college paper.
I guarantee it is. I mean, kids are writing their dissertations on the Game Boy these days.
They're writing them with bullet holes right through the page.
Yeah. Don't call me Paige. Anyway, it's Bill and Rob's An Excellent Adventure plus Graham. If we've got any new people to the Patreon, hell, we've done a shitload of episodes, so I hope you have time to catch up, but this is a perfect jumping off point for any new listeners. Bill, are we doing patented segments?
I believe so. I went to the trouble to try and come up with something fun for each one, so we're going to continue the theme of our segments are the same, but the names will change just because it amuses us, and that's good enough reason for us.
Love it. Well, what do we have up first?
Well, our first section is a fun fact section, and this time around, I'm calling this one Welcome to Steel Harbor. So we're going to talk about some fun, interesting facts, or even just facts. They don't always have to be fun. They could be terrible, as long as they're amusing, that we managed to dig up about Barb Wire. So, Rob, would you like to pick one of your fun facts to throw out there first?
Wow. Okay, I'm going to go with my... I've got two, so I'm going to go first with my, I would say less than fun, because another one kind of ties into one of yours, Bill, I noticed in the document. Adam Rifkin was replaced by the studio as director with David Hohen. I think that's his name?
I believe so.
Hogan, right? Is it? I don't know.
I don't see a G, but possibly.
No, it is. Director David Hogan. I just
David Hogan.
Didn't type the G. Anyway,
it's a silent and invisible G.
Yes, and it's got an umlaut.
It's so silent you can't see it.
I'm wondering though, and that we'll probably talk about this more in the episode, like why the executives didn't like what Rifkin was doing. I know that happens all the time, and Graham, I don't know if you know of any notorious like directors that have been replaced on any films, but it feels like the executives wanted a certain type of movie with Pamela Anderson in it. And maybe Adam Rifkin wasn't wanting to give it to him. And it doesn't feel like David Hogan really wanted to give them that type of movie. But I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think it feels a little bit like Richard Donner now that you've pointed it out, because he got replaced on Superman 2 with Richard Lester, who wanted to basically make a comedy after they'd shot 75% of a Superman action movie.
Yeah.
I could easily see that with this, because I think this is still a time where Pam Anderson sold the movie, and the fact that they mined a comic book for it. The execs, I'm sure, didn't watch it. They never did up to this point. They probably didn't even know what it was. So trying to do that balancing act of what made the comic work, if it did, and I can't say that it did because I didn't read Barb Wire, so I don't know how good a comic book it was, but it's a neat idea for a movie, but it feels so tropey.
Well,
it feels like somebody came in and really dumbed it down hard.
And I feel like
was.
My thought is the executives are like, we got Pam Anderson, let's make a TNA film,
Yeah.
Who cares what the story is,
Right. Maximum exposure for your lead character, regardless of whether it makes any sense or not.
Yeah.
Who wrote this? Rob, do you know if Rifkin wrote this?
No, it looks like it is a...
Okay, two other guys.
Yeah, but it's... you've got your standard, like, Chris Warner, Eileen Chaikin.
Eileen, yeah.
Who, she might be the significant writer on this. And then Chuck Farrer. So we've got three people here, and I never know, like, because IMDb is no good about, like, letting us know who the, like, based on by, So Chuck and Eileen did screenplay, and Chris Warner made the character in the comic book. So,
yes.
Of course,
original writer.
He's going to get the credit for, creation. And then Chuck and Eileen made the screenplay. And, they're like the Time Cops people, the, Law and Order, L Word. I mean, like Eileen produced The Handmaid's Tale on,
oh, wow.
Hulu. So like these people know what they're doing, but this is 1996. It's a weird superhero movie. It's an intellectual property that's not known by the public. So you're really betting big on a movie like this, I guess. So anyway.
Yeah, especially with backing from what is then I wouldn't call him not a third tier, but dark horse, not an up and coming player at the time, really starting to make, but not a DC or a Marvel, and Gramercy Pictures, not an MGM or a Universal, or this falls right into that no man's land of like Vampirellas and Witchblade type of stuff where the execs aren't going to know any of that material.
Yeah.
So who's really going to be the voice of this movie, and is that going to be good or bad?
And my theory is with this whole Adam Rifkin and David Hogan thing is that Adam Rifkin probably wanted to make a dark, seedy, comic book, and they wanted an action TNA schlock sort of thing. Yeah.
So, with CJ Parker in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Dark Horse did, Hellboy, right? So at a certain point in time, they come into it. But anyway, that was my first Steel Harbor fun fact. Graham, did you happen to have a fun fact?
Well, I didn't want to steal anybody's thunder, but I did want to talk about the relation to Casablanca. And to me, the movie is kind of like, so a third grader has been assigned to write a story for class, and they sort of take a movie that they know but add boobs to it.
Oh.
And that's sort of, it's like a very immature adaptation of Casablanca.
I would just have to say, Graham, like, I am proud of a third grader that has watched Casablanca.
Let's say that the third grader is 1956 right now,
Okay.
Instead of current day, But yeah, just like a movie that and then you just add boobs to it and you turn it in as an original project.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the idea of like, how do we put something that people are familiar with? I don't think it's executed well. It's executed in a very middle school type of way. I'll give them a few years.
I agree. I see your point, Gray. I mean, it is a childish take on and I don't think the idea of doing a post-apocalyptic Casablanca is a bad idea. People lift themes for stuff all the time. You could do it if you just take the mainline theme and then run with it. And I think they could have. I don't think it would have been impossible for this, but this thing it got so bubblegummed and popcorned with the way it came out. It just really hits. And if you have seen the movie, which I have seen Casablanca, and you start watching this, you're like, it's almost not insulting is the wrong word, but it just makes you sit back and go, oh, geez, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, both movies end on an airport runway. Like, it is scene for scene. Yeah. Almost.
Frankly, my dear. Oh, wait, no, that's Gone with the Wind.
No. Don't call me babe.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Don't call me bogey.
Yeah. Or maybe it was. It doesn't matter. I'm not as educated in the film world. I saw Casablanca once at a screening in the Deep South. But we'll talk more about that on Pumpkin Spice Podcast. Bill, did you have a Steel Harbor fun fact?
I do. I have one kind of main one that's, I tell you, this movie was hard to look into some stuff. I couldn't find a lot of background material on it, and I really wanted to.
Feels like it got the E.T. video game treatment, doesn't it?
Well, it just isn't there.
Bury it.
Some of my research was, they didn't promote it well, or barely at all. I guess this was something that Gramercy just decided to not push after they'd made it. So, of course, not a lot of interviews and stuff like that. But what I did find, which I found interesting, is there's a scene in the movie where I'm going to, spoiler alert, Pam, less than clothed, and she's taking a bubble bath, and what amounts to just a big, giant see-through bathtub. It's just another eye candy piece for the hetero dudes in the crowd, or probably anybody that likes Pam. Anybody would love this. And I'm like, well, okay, that's pretty neat. But I guess they couldn't find a Perspex bathtub big enough to do this scene, and Pamela really wanted to do it. This was like one of her contributions to the movie. She really wanted to take a bath in this see-through bathtub and let everybody check it out. So they had to go to the city aquarium and borrow a seahorse tank. It was the only thing big enough, and it was like this great big tank. And so they shot the scene and redecoed the aquarium and did all that stuff, but they had put all the soap suds in it. Well, the soap suds contaminated the tank. It contaminated 5 tanks in total.
Oh my God.
And caused over $400,000 in damages. So this is a movie that cost $9 million. They put $9 million into it. It only made $4 million. So it lost all that money. But the fact that 5% of their losses is completely seahorse related is just an insane fact to me. Find me any other movie that's got a seahorse deficit in the budget.
Oh my God. That's so wild, because at a certain point you kind of have to think, like, when do we stop spending money on stuff that we can have other fun ideas with, right? Like maybe after the first seahorse tank breaks, but no.
For as many elements in this movie that aren't bad and could be better, the thought of, like, if you could throw another $400,000 at like the ending of this movie.
Yeah. Hell, the beginning.
It's instantly, and nothing would make it more than better just to keep moving it up that way. It's just nuts.
Yeah. Graham, how do you feel about the seahorses? Are you okay about that?
Yeah, it's one of those things that a production can run into where you have this unseen cost to the film. And it's actually kind of surprising that the movie only made $4 million, because Pam Anderson was a pretty big star. I mean, she was very well known in 1996. I don't understand why it didn't make more money than it did. I mean, it's a trashy sort of guilty pleasure Friday night, Saturday night movie.
Well, and I wonder if there's like some weird tax reason that once they realized, like, well, this isn't what we thought it was going to be, let's shelve it and cut our losses sort of situation.
From what I could find out, they decided to put more backing into Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie, who'd come out the same time as this.
Whoa.
That's what I read, and that Gramercy just decided to shift resources. I guess, small company, small movie theaters. They only had so much, and for whatever reason, maybe they thought that Pam's name alone would carry this movie, so they just didn't bother to push it. And remember, this is 1996, so this is not internet savvy. It's still movie posters and ad spots and things in Starlog and stuff like that. That's how you get this kind of a movie promoted and out into the world and have people watch it.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that. So it's weird. Almost like they kind of cut their prophet's throat with their own decisions, which is so strange.
Mm-hmm. And I think when you look at the movie poster of Barb Wire and you see Pamela Anderson in her heyday, I think a lot of people will just like eye roll at it and be like, I don't know this comic. Like, if you knew the comic book, probably not. But if you're just like average moviegoer being like, I can see this, or I can see fucking Ace Ventura Pet Detective Part 2 or whatever's out at the same time, you bet on Carrie. I always bet on Carrie.
Yeah. That's a really good point, Rob, because thinking about it, the movie poster just looks like a Revlon ad.
Yeah.
It's just Pam in a black back. But if they had done your classic
holding a gun,
painted poster, Roger Corman style post-apocalyptic poster for that, and with a easily recognizable Pam Anderson in there, that would have been really cool. But instead, it's just like,
That's a really good point that I hadn't even thought of, Bill.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you're not enticing people with the, like, and that's what I'm also talking about with, like, the execs. Like, whoever's handing down these decisions and finally making the approvals, not saying Gramercy is like this huge company or something, but whoever the buck stops with decided the close-up on Pam holding a gun with a black background where you don't really see anything else, and then the text is your movie poster. Like, that's not selling this movie. Like, it isn't. Nope. It isn't selling on Pam alone. Like, it is a fun movie, but you don't get any of that from the poster. And if they also reduced the amount of trailers that go out and anything like that, like you're up shit creek. Now, my other last fact, Bill, is kind of related to yours. Like the bubble bath scene, the opening sequence was also suggested by Pam. The swing with the water, and apparently, like, it came to her in a dream. But David Hogan was dodging the studio notes to include more nudity, and the sequence got the nudity out of the way at the beginning of the film. Now, of course, there's a little bit more here and there, but I feel like if that's the note that he keeps getting, kind of like with Adam Rifkin, I'm guessing that he's probably like, okay, Pam wants this scene at the beginning. It covers the studio notes. If your average exec is only going to watch the first 10 minutes of this movie, they got everything they wanted. And then you get a shootout scene.
Yeah, which is weird. A weird way to neuter your audience right out of the gate. Because, all right, say you've come for Pam Anderson, and whoever you are, you're expecting to see nudity. My first note, right to boobs. That's the first thing I wrote down on the page. And it's a long sequence.
Yeah, it is.
It's a 4-minute shot of just the same thing. Like, look, Pamela Anderson, lovely woman. I understand what you're doing here, but it's a weird anti-payoff, because if you come to this movie and you see her and you're kind of like, I bet we see her naked. I bet we do. Most movies make you work for it. You wait for it. Something happens. It's later in the movie. It's not just boom in your face. And after that, it's kind of like, this movie better impress me because your main draw is done at the very start of this movie.
Yeah.
So, it
feels like a give up too. Like, God, I keep getting this fucking note. Okay, cool. Get it for the first. Yeah.
And then it feels like you're watching it uphill.
Yes, that's it. That is it exactly. Speaking of going uphill, should we go uphill to our next segment, Bill?
Absolutely. This is where we talk about some of the things we liked about the movie that we haven't covered yet. And I have called this section, I'll Buy That for a Canadian Dollar.
A loony? Is that a loony? I think that's a loony.
Yeah, that's appropriate for this movie.
Because it's not a toonie. It's two. No. This is a loony. Bill, you should go first.
That's a different thing altogether. All right. So I'm going to admit, it was kind of hard to find some things I liked about the movie. Spoiler alert, I don't hate the movie, but I'm not in love with this movie in any way. But one of the things I did love, and it's a very small thing, I love the matte painting of the bombed out Capitol building. Because the movie starts, it tells us about the world. America has fallen apart and had another civil war, and you're kind of wondering what that looks like. Anything about the apocalypse or the future, any of those kind of movies, I'm always wondering, what's the world look like? How does it work? Hopefully the movie gives me something to go by. And there's a moment where it pans back to Washington, and you see this amazing painting of the Capitol with big parts of it blown away, and it's dark and it's moody. Immediately I thought, John Carpenter, this very Escape from New York. Maybe this is a good sign. And it's not, because then we just get warehouses with dark sets and no lights. But God, I love that painting. It was amazing. If you could have taken the spirit of that painting and put that in more into this movie, that would have gone a long way into fixing the aesthetic and just the overall feel of this thing. But kudos to whoever painted that. Yeah,
I love that sort of aesthetic in movies. It really sets a tone. Graham, is there something you'd buy for a Canadian dollar that you like in this movie?
Yes, and like Bill, there wasn't the movie for having like Pam Anderson in an action movie is just kind of boring.
Sure.
But one of the things that I thought that was done very well was the final confrontation with the bad guy on the crane where it's attached to the cars. And I thought that was like, I actually became invested in the movie at that point where I was like, oh yeah, like I'm watching a kind of a cool movie at this point. But then it was gone before you know it, and we were back to the same old. But I thought that was a decent action sequence.
I love that part too. I felt really pulled in that last like 20 minutes of the film more than I felt pulled in at any other point, and definitely not the montage of the destroying of the bar that went on for like 7 minutes.
Chekhov's bar.
Yeah. Hey, what's the name? And I'll get to my thing I'll like, but I'm trying to find it in the cast. The guy who played that supervillain, not the cop, not the like sergeant, but like that the guy she was fighting at the end on the crane. Do we
the
know
main
that?
fascist guy?
Yeah. Do we know that actor's name?
Well, I
believe that's Tony Bill.
Tony Bill?
Yeah, I believe that was him. His Foster.
He's the main guy from Toby Hooper's Life Force, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Is he?
That's who I thought it was, but I didn't look it up. I should have. I didn't do my homework.
He looks like the villain in The Mask, like the brother. Like he would be the brother.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. But no, it's Steve Railsback, and he was the main character in Life Force.
Okay, Steve Railsback. Well, that's just something because it's like IMDb doesn't even care about this movie because they don't even have the top cast. It's like Pam Anderson, alphabetical order. It's
always go letterboxd.
Yeah.
Unlike the credits of the movie, which go cast in order of appearance.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Always a strange choice.
It's so is. Now, here's what I'll say. Yeah, Steve Railsback. Gosh, looking him up. I like that this movie feels like a 90s comic book. I kind of alluded to that earlier, right? And I think this is what people nowadays claim they want instead of the MCU. Make it more like the comic. Make it, like silly and over the top and all these sorts of things. But we're getting an example of that. Like, I have to believe, now, of course, yes, I haven't read Barb Wire, but having looked up images from the comic and read selected pages and stuff, it feels like we're getting what's on the page on screen. And sometimes that doesn't work, right? Like, X-Men in yellow spandex doesn't work in a movie. It works on the page. And I think that with a couple of tweaks, Barb Wire could work on the film, but it almost leans too much into, okay, we got a corset and a leather coat and high heels and bazookas and neon lights everywhere. And it's just not there for me. But in that, I like that. Like, I like that. Like, I'm watching a movie. It's like, yeah, you took the comic book and you said, let's make a movie that looks like this. And they did a good job, and that's fun to see, even if it doesn't work.
I see, yeah, I know where you're coming from, Rob. It's just almost like the movie needed to commit to being over the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or being cheesy or something along those lines. It needed to embrace one direction or the other. I don't think it would have been good if they tried to make it like a straight Jean-Claude Van Damme, Arnold Schwarzenegger, but with Pam Anderson type futuristic action movie. They clearly didn't have the budget for that. But I think, if they just leaned into the fun of the book and just embraced it, it would have gave us something more to go with. At least it would have been a more cohesive theme for the look of this movie.
Definitely. Bill, anything else you'd buy for a Canadian dollar here?
I do, and it kind of goes back to what Graham said about the fight scene. Tamura Morrison, pre-Django Fett, Tamura Morrison. I think he's really good as a co-star in a movie like this as Axel Hood. And could you get more of a movie bad-ass guy name than Axel? It's never like Steve Flerbin or, Joe Williams. It's just not. It's always something like that. But I really like him in this movie. He's got a great look. He's rugged and tough. He's not too pretty. If you're going to do this kind of futuristic, everything's gone to hell type movie, he's a good guy to do. His fighting style is really good. He commands on screen, and all the fight scenes that he's in, I think, work really great. It's the kind of high point of the movie when those things take off. So he really did a great job. I honestly think he's the best actor in this movie pulling off the material on the screen. Mm-hmm. And when you've got a movie that's got Udo Kerr in it, that's pretty good.
Crying
pretty good
over
a
for him destroyed bar.
Sad Alfred. What a waste.
Oh man.
And then she gives him this totaled bar. That would be like if I wrecked a Ferrari and left it in your yard, Rob, and went, keys are in it.
Have fun. Yeah. Graham, anything else you'd buy for a Canadian dollar that you'd wanted to point out?
Not really. And I don't mean to be too hard on the film, but yeah, the final action sequence was really cool.
It was really what did it for you. Yeah. Well, Bill, what else do we have on the docket?
Well, now we're going to move into a section that I'm sure was nearly impossible for any of us to come up with anything for. It's the things that we generally dislike about the movie that we found. And I have called this section, Don't Call Me at All.
Nice. Well, who would you like to go first?
I think I'm going to go first on this one because I haven't yet. One of the things I didn't like, and I hate to run it down, but it's Pam Anderson's acting. And I don't want to blame. I don't want to blame her for all of it, but she's asked to be dirty, hairy, hard in every scene that she plays. And that's not a gear she has. It's just not. The dialogue is not conducive. That's not good. No one would be able to make this work and sound as tough and as hard as somebody as a Barb Wire needs to in this scenario. And when you see her on screen, she's still so pretty and so made up and so perfect. She just looks like CJ Parker dressed up for Halloween. Mm-hmm. Like she's going down to the beach, to the party, and this is the outfit she's come up with. And she does that squinty-eyed thing, she real dirty, hairy thing when she's saying her lines, like she's squeezing the words out through her eyeballs. And if she had been more of a silent hero, and that's not to slam her and say she can't do dialogue. She can, but with her strengths, which is if you give her the right look and you just let her smolder, which she is good at, I think this movie would have been even better. Then you could have just played her as the strong silent type. She could have said a few things here and there, and it might have helped the experience of watching this movie up. But as it is, she's the wrong pick to actually play this kind of a character. At least certainly at this point in time.
Yes. Now, Bill, I agree, and my only caveat is, because it sounds like Graham's agreeing with you too. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Now, I would like also, Graham, as a filmmaker, your opinion on this. We don't get any long strings of Pam Anderson Barb Wire dialogue. It is always usually one or two lines in a cut. And that's not uncommon for movies. But it does feel like maybe she kept getting all right, now give me that line again, but dirtier, hairier, whatever.
Yeah.
I believe that.
You're out of here. And it's and they just kept every single one of those takes that sounds exactly the same throughout this entire movie. And at some point, maybe she's just all right, this is just how I deliver absolutely everything here. But I do also agree that she looks like a supermodel in the apocalypse, which is doesn't help the character in this. She has no real arc either. We never give a shit about Barb Wire. Towards the end of the movie when she's this is our ticket to Mexico or whatever, we're not going to help anyone out. We're just going to sell these contact lenses and get out of here. At what point are we supposed to like you as a character too, and she's not given that, so it also doesn't help the acting on this because she's not given a character to like.
I actually like that you brought that up, Rob, because she has an out at the end of the movie. Humphrey Bogart didn't at the end of Casablanca. It was like, okay, she gets away and I'm going down with the ship.
Yeah.
You know, and it's weird that they gave the character this out, you know, I do like how Mexico is the ideal place to escape to if you're living in fascist America.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's coming
Here's
from
a
Mr.
thought.
Texas down there.
Hey, they're
You're closer than all of us, man. You're closer.
Yeah, I love it.
So here's a quick exercise. One big change to the script. Take out Cora D, Axel's wife, who's got the plans, she's got the cure for the virus that's about to be let loose and whatever. That's why they got to get out of the country. They got to get her out so she can tell the Canadian government, the world government, so they can all make sure the rotten American government doesn't get her. Take her out of this movie and make it Tamara Morrison's character. For whatever reason, he's the one that's got to escape. He's the one that had the relationship with Barb. That all went south. This is a big character conflict thing. And now she's got to decide whether she's going to help her old boyfriend who she's mad at versus what she really feels. And then you could have got into some, and she could have had some character. But like you said, Grib, this movie's just not Casablanca. So if that conflict had been there, I think it would have deepened her emotional impact and her character on screen somewhat, at least somewhat.
There's no emotions in the movie. Like, I don't know if you remember the scene where Barb Wire's making out with the dude and the wife comes in and she's just like, what are you guys up to?
Yeah. It's like,
you're like, what?
We were married for a name change, but then a relationship developed. And it's like, okay, so you do or don't care that your husband was making out with Barb Wire?
I had no idea who cared about who.
Yeah. Wild. Well, I'll say that my dislike, this is the first time I watched this movie, guys. It was for the podcast.
Oh, great. I love it when this happens.
And I watched it in HD. I watched it in 1080, right? High definition does not do this movie justice. It doesn't do it. This movie benefits from a sleazy tracking tear on the tape, film grain, like weird audio dubbing that's warped a little bit. Like that would add to Barbed Wire. Seeing this pristine and being able to like see the flaws or like the set of it all takes me right out of the film. And some movies, Hard Ticket to Hawaii, you want to watch on VHS. You know, like some movies you gotta see them in SD, and this is one of those.
Agreed. That actually dovetails into my last thing, Rob, and I wrote it down. This is the cleanest dystopia I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Almost everyone is clean,
Yeah.
From the thugs to the rebels. Even the locations look like they've just threw cardboarded paper all over a regular street set. The bar that she runs, the Hammerhead, it looks like a bar that you could have gone into in 1996, in LA and just
seen your friends from Melrose Place shooting pool.
Yeah, I mean, people are dressed weird, but it's no worse than the Road Warriors from the WWF. You could have seen this. It all looks real. So I didn't feel like this world was as dangerous as they kept saying it was because it's not dirty and it's not broken and
it wasn't threatening.
They tried. It wasn't threatening at all, and that just undercuts that whole thing about she's a hard girl living in a hard world, and all these things are happening. It's like, show me some of that. Show some people with robot arms or things ripped up, there's a little bit of that, but not nearly enough. Even as good as that fight is at the harbor that you talked about, Graham, if you look in the background, it's like, well, they can't gussy up, the LA port, so it just looks like an episode of Hunter.
Yeah, exactly.
When you get down to that.
And but there's some moments I think that they like. There wasn't a scene where Barbed Wire, like, she wets her finger and dips it in ash and makes that her mascara or something.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been something that's like, okay, now this is the world, but they don't do anything clever like that.
Seems like she still has makeup that she can buy from the shop.
Oh, she
Like,
went
there's
to Barney's right before the before the shoot.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, her makeup is the only casualty that she has because it runs when she finds her brother has been murdered, and it's been pre-streaked in raccoon style so that when the camera pans up, you can see it on there. And then the next scene, it's all back. It's perfect again.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been a great moment, Graham, just right there if she'd had to run her fingers in the ash around his body and just been like,
Yes.
it's time to go.
It's almost kind of like what Tarantino did in Inglourious Bastards, where our female hero takes over the movie theater.
Yes.
And I just think that the movie needed to dig into its world.
Yeah, and you might have got more out of Pam on this because if you had trusted her to get dirty and bloody and scraped up, it's like learn the lessons from Aliens that you've learned 15 years ago. Sigourney Weaver is no less of an attractive person when she's dirty than when she's clean. This would have been a nice change because otherwise you just get static Revlon ad Pam Anderson there. And so I know a busted up, angry, torn up looking Barb Wire towards the end of the movie would have been a really interesting take on it.
No offense to Pam Anderson, but there's a big distance between her and Sigourney Weaver as far as
100%.
acting ability.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Talking strictly from an aesthetic standpoint.
Absolutely.
of the
Yeah,
character.
I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Although
Yes.
I would like to see Pam Anderson in Avatar 3.
I'm sure you were going to say Aliens. What, 5, 10? What were we on?
I think I'm the only person in this group that loves the Avatar movies, but we'll do that later. Hey, maybe on my next series. You never know.
Hot take, never saw him.
Number 2 is better than number 1. I'll put that out there. You can't tell me you're going to get a crab mech fighting another warship in any other movie. It's amazing.
My birthday's next month. It's on the list.
Bill, you got to watch The Way of Water. Anyway, Graham, did you have anything else you disliked that you wanted to point out?
Well, this might be controversial. I know it will be with some of our listeners and maybe even y'all. It never felt like a superhero movie to me. I guess there's a difference between comic book and superhero. But I was never into comic books where the superpower is being like really good with guns.
Uh-huh.
And it felt like more of like a spy thriller sort of political espionage to get around these fascists than it did a superhero movie. And I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but as far as like it didn't scratch my superhero itch. That I not that she needed superpowers or whatever, but it was just pretty a mundane kind of spy movie.
Yeah.
I see your point, Graham, because it's not a superhero movie. It is indeed a comic book movie with humans in it, but that's where I think if they had cyborged it up or dirtied it up or more sci-fi'd it up, I think that might have helped you get to that point because comic books lean into the absurd and they don't have to have superpowers for it, but she's definitely not a superhero. So if you're coming in looking for that, you will get, kind of dropped on your head.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work.
Barb Wire and The Punisher, I'm not huge fans of.
Yeah. I wonder if only the same amount of cops that love The Punisher loved Barbed Wire, this might be a better place to live. You never know.
Let's write a comic book where they fall in love and then kill people.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's great.
Till death, we do everyone else.
That's the worst idea of the week. It has to be.
Fun though.
Wow. Okay. Bill, I've got one more. Do you have one more?
I think you're the last one, Rob.
Okay. Let's see here. Not a lot of budget on this film. We know that they lost a lot on the seahorses. Rest in peace. But I feel like if they were able to move around a little bit of money here and there and gotten just 2 more even semi well-knowns, right? Just somewhat well-knowns. to flush out this cast. Like, Udo Kier doesn't count. He's in the movie for about 7 minutes of full screen time, you know. And Udo Kier, like, as good as he is, like, he's the do not go in there party host in Ace Ventura, right? Like, he's the weird villain in a movie. He's this, that, but he's not.
Well, he's
Pam
Dracula
Anderson.
as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. But like, but the fact of the matter is if this had, you know, I don't want to say go the Baywatch route and say Hasselhoff, but if it had someone at least at like a Hasselhoff level, you know, or a Pam, just under a Pam Anderson level, like just two more, you could really, really sell this movie. I think.
Who was the guy in Dallas and he was in he's the dad in Step by Step?
Oh,
Patrick Duffy.
Yeah, Patrick Duffy.
Patrick Duffy should have been in this movie.
Evil Bobby Ewing as a fascist leader.
That would have been awesome.
No, I see your point, Rob, because I'm thinking, you know, a movie not too far removed from this was Spawn. And,
Yes.
You know, Michael Jai White was the here, and you got Martin Sheen as the bad guy.
Yeah.
So,
Man.
I think I see your point. Somebody else face recognizable to help keep carrying. Now, you know, we do get Clint Howard. Let's not pretend there's not another star in this movie.
But not enough.
Yeah. Apparently in the Pam and Tommy like docu-series that came out on Hulu, when they get to the Barb Wire portion, Clint Howard reprises his role as this in Barb Wire.
I
He's
saw
clutch.
that, and that makes me want to go back and finish that series just based on that.
Yeah. Oh man. It's so silly, but you're right. Anyway, Bill, should we move on to the next segment?
Absolutely. So we're about to the end of our trip through Steel Harbor. And we're at the final section where we just find some stuff that we found super amusing that we share with each other and get a good laugh out of it in case anybody missed it. And since it is the end of the movie, I have called this section Leaving Steel Harbor.
Oh.
I know, a little bit of serendipity. So how about, Graham, how about you go first on this one?
Amusing moments. Well, this is something that Rob touched on at the beginning of the podcast, and I'm hoping that we can sort of have a discussion about the Word Up song. Because, so the poster says Pamela Anderson Lee. So to me, the no-brainer would get Motley Crue or Tommy's solo project at the time to do the music. Why did they choose Gun? It just seemed like a no-brainer that they would have had a Tommy Lee sort of song to open that thing up. It was the height of the relationship.
I have an answer for you to an extent. And also, side note, Graham, I just texted you. There is a website called Rucking Fountain that does like specialized drops on clothing merchandise that's doing Perfect Blue themed merch.
Oh, nice.
Bill, I don't know if you've ever seen Perfect Blue, but it is amazing. It's on my Plex. Anyway, Tommy Lee, I watched the featurette for this film, the 15-minute, you know, what you would see in between the Weather Channel and E! Behind the Movies or whatever. Tommy Lee produced the song The Band in what is the Steel Heart? What's
the Hammerhead?
The Hammerhead. The band in Hammerhead.
Yeah.
He produced that song that you hear for 30 seconds in the Hammerhead scene, the opening Hammerhead scene. And then him and Pam do a song together on the soundtrack that I'm sure plays during the credits or something.
Okay, because I don't remember that.
Yeah. And I will have to say, amusing moments. Word Up.
Word Up.
Opening the film with the Scottish band Gun, or Gun, performing cameos. Word Up might be, out of all the strange choices in this film, that might be the strangest. Like, in any ways, does Word Up fit the tone of Barb Wire? It could, but I would definitely think the original might post-apocalyptically fit better than the Scottish band's cover of it. But both of those things together definitely don't fit the tone to this movie.
Total agree. Hit hard, hated it. Hated it from the first not drop of that note. And yeah, dovetails back. You're right, guys. This is where you get Tommy Lee to write something original for the start of this movie.
I bet you.
And I don't even care if it was any good. It just needed to be not that.
It feels like there was like this small window in 1996 where one of the producers went to a strip club and asked a person that worked there, what's the hottest song for people to dance to? Word Up. He's like, that's it.
There it is.
You know, I mean, it was like 2 seconds of research.
Yeah. Oh God. It is like, I really had to check my headphones and be like, what's going on? Like, I had to go like, oh, is this like Methods of Mayhem covering
Methods of
Word
Mayhem?
Up?
Oh my gosh.
You know,
Rob, you're
Bill,
a Tommy Lee fan.
Bill, Graham and I had a long chat about nu metal on our End of Days episode of Pumpkin Spice Podcast. And so Methods of Mayhem has been but like that would be Tommy Lee covering Word Up, right? Would be for Methods of Mayhem. But nope, Scottish band Gun covering Word Up.
Yeah, you couldn't have done worse unless you got Hayseed Dickseed to perform Eruption and do it and use that instead.
Can I just say my other thing I disliked real quick?
100%.
Because it kind of dovetails, or not dovetails, but it's similar to what you said about it being too clean. The flashback, this is so amusing to me. The flashback scene where everyone's like, we're seeing the war, the Civil War. Everyone's fatigues are pristine.
Yeah.
Like they have not been to war. They just got off of high school theater troupe, war movie, something, Johnny Comes Walking Home or something. But like, it is so funny to see how bright green these fatigues are in like an urban Civil War.
Barb has makeup on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has makeup on in the battlefield with her hair just flowing out behind her. It is very, if there was a scene that you could have been stylized and done by Party City, that's what this war scene looks like.
Yes.
It is atrocious.
Oh God. What else do we got on these music moments?
Well, I've got one, and it kind of comes back to the end of the movie again. There's a payoff scene in the junkyard. So they've gone through, they've got to get out, and to get out, they've got to deal with a gangster named Big Fatso. That is his name. A large man who rides around in the bucket of a steam shovel. And I thought this was great. It made me laugh. I couldn't help it. I called him Junkyard the Hut. It's just
that is exactly it.
This is what they were doing. Like, okay, we've troped this, we troped that. The actor's hilarious working on this part. I couldn't not look at it. His name's Andre Rosie Brown, and he just chews up the scenery in it. And of course, there's a payoff. There's always one, but no money. So he winds up giving Barb a gold debit card. He didn't have any money to pay her off, so he gives her the gold debit. Now, this is 1996. Debit cards is the idea of things versus credit cards coming around. Not something you'd see anywhere. But I think it was hilarious that he's going to give her a card. He says he doesn't have any money. He's going to give her a card linked to a bank account filled with money.
Yep.
Because that's how debit cards work.
Yeah.
It's not a credit card.
Yeah.
So he didn't really do anything. But it was very George Clooney, Batman, and Robin for just like one brief second. I wanted to hear the ka-ching when he opened the...
Don't leave home without it, you know?
Oh, man. Talk about your FDIC secured payoffs in the post-apocalyptic world.
Oh, what about you, Graham? Any amusing moments?
Well, again, it's kind of circling back to Pam's performance. There's this fantastic scene in the movie where I was laughing my ass off, where she's saving this woman and she uses a Batman-like contraption to get out of the building. And as they're repelling down, is that the way you say it?
I think so. Yeah.
Down the building, the hostage, the woman that Barb Wire is saving is screaming, and Barb Wire just says, "Gosh, shut up!" It was just like so funny, and it was like dubbed. It was like done in post, and it was just like, gosh, shut up.
I think you found yourself a Real Housewives of Steel Harbor moment in that one particular scene.
Any other for you, Bill?
Yeah, one last one. So as they're getting ready to take off from the destroyed Hammerhead, Barb, Axel, Cora D, all of them, they're all piling into the Barb's battle van, which is amazing. I got to say, the battle van was the most sci-fi out there, apocalyptic looking thing they had. Not the best looking thing I've ever seen, but it really did look the part. It's loaded with weapons. And so Barb gets her Rambo arm up moment. You know, I was only supposed to take pictures. So they show her just shoving grenades and guns and knives into her skin tight leather uniform.
I'm coming for
you.
What
looks like feels like 1,000 minutes and 10,000 pounds of ammunition for her to go. And that's where they meet up with Big Fatso. And as she gets out of the van, the first thing, like, drop your guns. And she immediately takes off all of it.
Yeah.
And drops it on the ground. There's literally a pile of guns. Or it somehow clung to this 98-pound woman dressed in a cat suit. I'm like, what the hell was this?
Why show us all of it if it's
zero payoff whatsoever for this moment? I mean, good Lord, poor woman carried more. Her guns weighed 4 times what she did, and she didn't even get to shoot one of them.
No. But she did keep that one grenade.
She did. And that sadly is an example of somewhere. I don't want to know where she hid that one. I mean, she hid it in her false eyelashes. That's my headcanon. But that's that other thing is like, dude, you finally went over the top and you didn't even embrace it. You just turned around and threw that moment away. She should have just whipped that stuff out and gone nuts with it. Instead of just lying on the ground for something for, the prop guys to clean up.
Quick question. Graham, the chief of police in this movie, did you recognize him from anything you and I watched recently?
I know him, but as of recently, you'll have to remind me.
Well, we watched, I think is that Xander Berkeley? Or is is that his name? Yeah.
Yes.
He was in the original Heat.
Yes.
That we watched for piloting error.
That's right.
LA Takedown.
LA Takedown. He was the Wayne Grove.
Yeah, he was the original Wayne Grove. Like, very interesting dynamic there. Well, this has been great, but Bill, you want to remind everyone what we do at the end of our episodes?
Absolutely. Now that we've survived our trip from 2017 or 2019, the movie doesn't seem to really want to know which year it is because for some reason they use both. This is the part where we basically rate the movie, and we call this section 5 Nights for $1. Back in the day, if you'd walked into your video store, there was usually a rack of movies and might say something like 5 nights for $1. Throw your dollar down. You can pick your movie. Keep it 1 night. Keep it 5 nights. It's up to you. How well did you like the movie? How well did you want to keep the movie? And that's what we do with this one. We're going to do this for Barb Wire. We don't compare it to any other movie we've seen. No sequels, no anything else. Just you've gone in. I've gone into Sights and Sounds video. I've gone to the back of the sci-fi section. I've got my copy of Barb Wire. I've thrown my dollar down. We've all done that. How many of those 5 nights, now that you've seen it, are you going to keep Barb Wire? And how about you go first, Rob?
Ooh. Okay. Well, I had a lot of thoughts about this film. It wants to be something it will never be, right? It wants to be dystopian. It wants to be, girl power, kick ass. It wants to it is, you know what it is? It's the 90s, what the 90s wants to be for film. And for what it's putting out there in its media, but it's falling short. It's not actually clearly being these cool, state-of-the-art tech, futuristic ideas, forward thinking. It's none of that because they don't have the backing to make it that, and then they didn't get approved to make that. It's just it's the illusion. It has like action-like substances in this film, but it's not an action movie. It's like when, Robin Shore, TV writer, told me once that when you're on the set of like a sitcom and someone writes a joke that works, and I think I've said this on a pod before, but people hear that joke so much that when you're actually starting to film the sitcom, people are like, well, let's get another take. What's something else that we could say here that's funny? And people start going around the room and saying like, well, this instead of this. And it's like, oh yeah, that's clever. And they go with that, except it's not a good joke. It's just a joke-like substance. And it made people laugh in that moment because they've heard the actual thing that was written well too many times.
Yeah.
And this feels like that. We have seen a lot of great action movies. We've seen a lot of great heroines. We've seen a lot of great apocalyptic stories, but none of those are fully fledged out in this film. But that being said, I think watching this movie in theaters on film, like an old, like worn out film that maybe has a few cigarette burns in it, would be a blast. So I think I will keep this for 2.5 nights. I will keep this for 2.5 nights, and I'll go home and then I'll rent Mad Max or something. How about you, Graham?
I'll say 2 nights.
2 nights?
It's a great time capsule of the mid to late 90s. I guess it's 96.
Yeah.
And upon going back to the video rental store, I would trade it in for that Pam Tommy docuseries you were talking about earlier. Because I do find that interesting. I think, that they had, crazy relationship, being in the media and all that stuff. It sounds pretty interesting. Possibly more interesting than this film that we just watched.
I believe the Pamela Anderson actual biography she wrote is truly telling, so that would be a fun read. Anyway.
What's it called?
I'll look it up while Bill gives us his 5 nights for $1.
Yeah, this was a little bit of a tough one because the movie wants to be some stuff in the writing, but what it is a star vehicle for Pamela Anderson Lee.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. That's all the studio really wanted out of this was, put her in it. If it makes a lot of movie sequels, do some other stuff, they could have cared less. And that not caring really cut the legs out from under everything that could be in this film and could have made it great. I agree with Rob. This thing needs to be a lot more gritty, and a gritty look to it would have been great. And I'm not convinced at all that if you had given that kind of direction and at least that chance for Pam Anderson to play that character, probably with somebody with more investment in the story and a better vision of what it could have been, that she could have got at least closer. I mean, she is a professional actress. No matter how you say it, she's done a lot of stuff. She knows what a camera is. She knows what a script is. She knows how to work, or she wouldn't have been as successful as she was. By far, she wasn't just a pretty face. She did have some skills. And if you'd let her get dirty, if you'd trusted her to be a rough, tough, scraped up, ready to punch kind of hero in this movie, it would have gone a long way. And it suffers so much from that. That being said, it is a comic book movie. And there's enough of the comic book parts that come through that you see it. And it's not the worst thing that's ever been put to celluloid. Don't let anybody fool you. It gets a lot of rap for that. It's not the best thing ever. So I would definitely come in probably the 2-night category. And I'm not certain that on the second night I would watch it again all the way through, but there's a lot of stuff in here that is worth another look. Like I said, Tamura Morrison's not to be overlooked. His parts are great. The fight scenes are great. When Pamela's doing things, the fight scene at the end, Graham, that you've mentioned several times, it's good.
It's decent.
It is a good scene. It's not the greatest thing ever put to celluloid, but considering what we got up to this point, it's a okay payoff for what we get. And I got to give it all the credit for that. So if you definitely want to see like a 96 movie, this is one that screams that out in space. And it does have Clint Howard in it. And I think Clint is probably the smarmiest, greasiest part of this movie, and that is a good thing. It shows you where things could have gone, and it's not super long.
Yeah,
So
it doesn't overstay its
can-
welcome.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You kind of breeze on through. It's not a movie that just drags you along kicking and screaming. So it's a bit of fun, and it's exactly the kind of movie that I see for us when we do this. It's watch it and talk to your friends about it.
Yes.
So I'm going to give it 2 nights, and then I'm going to definitely sneak it back to the video store and probably be right behind Graham when he's trying to check out, because he's going to get to that VHS copy of Pam and Tommy before I do. And I'm going to be like, oh, Graham, got me again.
Well, you'll have to get yourself the audiobook version of Love Pamela, a memoir of prose, poetry, and truth, which actually came out January 31st, 2023. So
Almost a year.
Yeah, it comes out, you know when it comes out? The 1 year later, this episode comes out because this episode dropped on the 31st of January, 2024. So
Wow.
we did plan that. Yeah, it's totally great. Bill, thank you for bringing this to the table. I think we have a lot more to come. I'm really excited to talk Legend of Billie Jean with y'all next week. Will Graham show up? It's a mystery, everyone. As you learned from Pumpkin Spice Podcast,
I don't even know.
Bill might pop into Pumpkin Spice episodes. Graham might be popping into Bill and Rob's episodes. That's the joy of and the surprise of the Patreon. So if you liked this episode, make sure to tell your friends, listeners, and get them on the Bill and Rob's, patreon.com/Bill and Rob's train for all of the fun goodies we have. And we got to thank Rob Adler for editing this thing. He does great work, and that's the person who gets paid first from the Patreon. So with that, Bill, would you like to send us home?
Absolutely. Thanks, guys, for taking this trip into the future, which is now our past, for this insane movie. And we're going to look forward to the next episode, and we hope to see all of our friends out there with us next time.
Goodbye.
Word up.